Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Baccarat Edge. We're going to continue from the last video. We're going to be discussing price trend and market structure. Don't forget to press the like button and the subscribe button. Let's get into this. Let's pick back up where we left off the last video. We're going to be discussing price trend. What you see in front of you is a shoe that's been generated out of my software program. This is from B&B Simulation. He runs thousands of shoes on his YouTube channel, B&B Simulation. There's no affiliation, and I don't get paid for speaking about his program. I'm just a little impressed, not a little, I'm a lot impressed with how he came up with this and his simulation program, and it's for sale. You don't have to log on to a website, subscribe, and pay a monthly fee or whatever the case might be. So it's a pretty good program. Anyway, let's get to this. Trending. Baccarat trend. Let's go over a little bit here. Make sure you haven't forgot what was in the last video. In the last video, we talked about the banker index. The banker index is a chart. You add 1 for the banker. You subtract 1 for the player. So if it's on the top side of 0, if you're on the positive side of 0, you're in a banker favored shoe. If it's on the negative side, if it's on the bottom side of 0, you're in a player favored shoe. And I see what you guys may be looking at. Yeah, but this right here is player favorite. We're going to talk about that. We will discuss that. Anyway, let's move on. Let me record this particular screen just in case we need to bring this particular shoe back up. There's no way I can save these shoes once they're generated and they're gone. That's it. They're history, not unless I record the screen and we're able to go back to it later on. A trend. This is an uptrending shoe right here. It's a banker favorite shoe. This right here at +5, banker hit, turned around, banker hit, turn around. Banker went one above and then turn around again. This is what you call resistance. Resistance is the ceiling. Anytime that particular play, whether it's banker player, gets up to a particular point and turns around, that is called resistance. Notice here, it hit 1, hit twice. 1, 2, and 3, but it hit twice and turned around before it was able to break through. It hit twice before it was able to break through. And wow, it came again. Tried again. Tried to break through 1, 2, 3 times. Three times the charm. So, resistance is the ceiling. When it goes up to a particular point and keeps stopping at that point, turns around, that is called resistance. Support is the floor. That's support. Goes down to a particular point. In this case, keeps coming down to a +2 and turning around and going back up. Came back through it one time. went down to a positive 1, turned around, came back up. Notice from this point on to that point, that's basically a sideways market. That's a sideways market. But let's get into market structure so we can discuss sideways market. When you see trending up and when it turns around and comes down. Let me give you the definition of a market trend. This particular chart right here, I am putting before you. This is an example of what you call an uptrending market. Higher high. Current high is higher than the previous high. A higher low. Current low is higher than the previous low. And what you will notice is it keeps making higher lows, higher highs. The high is always going to be higher than the previous high. So it's like going up a set of steps. Higher low, higher high. This is market structure. Higher low, higher high, and so on. When you can definitely define a trend and it's making higher highs and higher lows, 9 times out of 10, you can draw a real nice trend line straight up those lows. Notice the low comes down, touches that trend line support there. 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 Came through it right there and went right back up into it, which is, that's what the real market does. It's not always going to touch that particular trend line. A lot of times it might trade through it, then turn around and go back up. This is an uptrending market. Let's look at a downtrending market. This is a downtrending market. Lower high, lower low. Current high is always going to be lower than the previous high. Current low is always going to be lower than the previous low. This is a trend to the downside. This is what a good trend looks like. Whether you're going up or down. You want to be going down a set of steps or up a set of steps. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low, and so on. Also, just like in an uptrend, you can take a trend line and come straight down. Notice. Start betting player there. Start betting player there. Start betting player there. Start betting player there. Star betting player there, and so on. Now, this is theory. It does never look this way in actual play. You have to be able to look at a chart and pick out your higher highs and higher lows, or your lower lows and lower highs. Of course, you're not going to learn this in a day. It takes time. It takes a minute to be able to look at a chart and look at this chart. This is a perfect picture one right here. Look at this chart. Trend line going straight up. Beautiful play. Let's look at this. Right here, excuse me. Where we at? Where's my dot at? Bear with me for a second, gentlemen. This program hesitates. I can't find a good screen marker. Okay. See how long that took? I don't know why this program does that. Right here, banker can't seem to get through +5. Turns around, goes back down. Each time he gets up to +5, turns around, goes back down. Okay? Now, with that being said, market is starting to trend, or right now it's in sideways market because this high did not break that high right there. This high needed to break that high in order for an uptrend to be established, but it didn't. So right now, when you're in a range like this, let me show you. When you're sideways range like that, you're ranging. It will go up to the ceiling, turn around, come back down to the floor. Go up to the ceiling, turn around, come back to the floor. At some point, though, it's going to try to get through that resistance or get through the support on the bottom. So, let's look at this. Got a higher high right there. Got higher lows. Higher lows right there. Got a higher low right there. Higher high right there. Higher lows. Notice those lows are going, stepping up. Higher lows. Higher lows. Higher highs running into resistance right here. Higher high. Higher low. Higher low. Higher high. Higher high. And now all of a sudden, it turns around right here and tests this support. I would consider this whole area right here support area. That's based on what you might consider call support. I call that support. Reason why it's support is because it's testing this low right here, and then you got a low right after that. It's testing that low. So this is your confirmation right here. This is your confirmation, and now you're getting a run of players to the downside. Even though you're in a banker favored shoe because we're on the plus side of 0, this is what you call counter trend trading. You're taking a counter trade, or you're going against the trend right now. And actually, the trend started reversed right here, but you're going against a banker favorite shoe. Let's call it what it is. It's a banker favorite shoe, and the trend has turned down. I remember plenty of vlogs or websites having many a discussion about, yeah, but how do you know when that trend is turning around? This is a perfect example right here. A perfect example of a player, a banker shoe turning into a player shoe. Perfect example of that. When to start betting player? When that player busts that square right there at hand 63, when that player came down through that support and busted that support area, from that point on, you're betting player. Look how many players came from hand 63, or how many bankers came. You'd be better off, you can count the bankers a lot quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bankers. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players. That right there is a perfect example of a trend changing in the middle of a shoe. Once you learn how to see that, you got it, man. You got it. This is not something you can, a lot of people will, wow, I see that. But you know what? It's harder to see when you first start learning how to look at these charts. You can see this trend going up here. When it gets down to that support area, bang, it's gone. That's Katie by the door. You're going to have, your hit rate is going to go up exponentially just on player. So do not get so stubborn that you think you're in the middle of a banker shoe and you start looking for a banker pattern, and all of a sudden you get caught in a run like this to the downside in a banker favorite shoe. It happens. It happens. I could just remember, I remember it like yesterday, and this was back in the 90s when I was betting a martingale. And after so many plays, I forgot how me and my partner set it up, but after so many plays, I was looking for a player. And a banker run caught me and tore me a new asshole. And I had close to a little over $1,000 on me, and that whole 1,000 was gone in a blink of an eye. It was gone just like that. If I had known back then how to track a trending Baccarat shoe, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have caught me. Because a lot of times when you're betting on the right side of the market and the market is in confluence with what you're doing, if you're looking for a banker on that run up right there, there's no reason why you should be betting player at any time doing this right here. Now, like I said, when you got to this area right here, you got to sit and watch, because if that player breaks that, which it did, it broke that support, bang, it's Katie by the door. That's player. And there was a guy who made a comment. He said something to the effect of, yeah, but you can't keep up with all of this at the table. I'm going to have a download link for you guys at some point in one of these videos. I haven't created it yet. This download link, you're going to be able to download this particular sheet right here. This is the sheet this is the only sheet I need to take to the casino. You can make your own. And I would be real curious and wondering how some of you guys will make your own sheet. But this is a sheet I created, and it doesn't have enough. We're gonna use this sheet right here. It doesn't quite have enough. I think I went up to like 50 something, 52, 53. See something. 20, 30, 40, 50. Yeah, it's like 50 something hands. I'm gonna say about 50 something squares going across. So when I sit down at the table, I just have and you can make zeros for bankers, X's for players, whatever you decide. So you can make an X for banker, and each time that banker comes, you're going up. Player comes, you're going down. And that's, that way you'll know, or you have an idea of how that shoe is trending. This is what I use in the actual casino. So yes, there is a way to keep up with this in the casino. Because when you look up at the tote board, like I said, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that particular chart. All you're going to see is this right here. For me, that's not enough. That's not enough. This right here is what I want to see. That's what I want to see. So let's also look at a transition, so you have an idea of what a transition looks like. This right here, this is how a chart looks when it starts to transition from one way to the other. Matter of fact, this is exactly what happened on the current chart we were just looking at. We caught a run up. Then all of a sudden, that high is not going to be higher, or it's going to be equal to, which we call a double top in trading, the previous high. That way you know there's something going on. Either you wait and see if it breaks back up, or that low right there. Notice it broke that low. So now you got a lower high and a lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. You usually see some type of transition, or it'll come out of an up market or down market. Let's say the market was going up. Bang, bang, bang. And then it starts doing this. It starts going sideways. That's a range. The high has not been broken. The low has not been broken. It might get down and test it, but this is what you call going into a range. Let's go back to that chart real quick. Let's see that. Let's look at that. I don't want to go too fast on this because this is a definitely the heart of keeping up with the trend. And notice we started having problems right here. This high couldn't break. It broke and then it came back down. It tested this low right here. It tested that low right there. And then it was Katie by the door. That's usually how you see a transition. Let's run a shoe and see if we can find another transition, because that's the hard part. The hard part is going to be, hear me out, recognizing support or resistance in a sideways market, and then recognizing when it's breaking down or if it's going to break up. Let's see if we can find a shoe that does this. Yeah, sideways market. Let's look at this. We have, can you pick out the resistance? Just by looking at this, we got resistance at +6. Banker gets up to +6, turns around, comes down to +3. Oh, this is definitely a good ranging market right here. Definitely a good ranging market right here. Comes down to +3. This is a range trade. It's caught in a sideways market. Now you can trade it each time it gets up here. Take a shot. See if it turns around and comes back down. Each time it comes down to support, take a shot. Turn around, see if it turns around and goes back up. But since this is a banker favorite shoe right here, I would just wait till it breaks out or gives me a confirmation. Here are your confirmations. That's a confirmation. Start betting banker. Wait for the turnaround is what I do. That's a confirmation. Start betting banker. And I mean, this is nothing but an approach. This is not a system. So you can make up your own rules. And from what I'm seeing right here, if I was to trade a range, I wouldn't be looking to win nothing but 1 or 2 bets. You got to look at how much meat you got on the bone up into the next resistance or down to the next support. Did you hear what I just said? I surprise myself sometimes. Wait till you see how much meat you got on the bone and bet up into resistance or bet down to support. Here's a confirmation right here. Hits resistance. That's a confirmation to the downside. That's a confirmation to the downside. It just cannot go anywhere. Another option might be to bet in sideways market. That's where you can look for your player or banker patterns. But recognize if it breaks out to the upside, you do not want to be looking for a player pattern. Or if it's on a player favorite shoe, you do not want to be looking for a banker favorite pattern. That's just my take on it. That's my take on it. So notice right here, you got a lot of support right here. It broke down for a second. Didn't go below 0. And then this became support. That plus, is that +2? Yeah. That +2 became support. And then it just turned around and went back up. Here is the resistant break right there. That's resistance. Because that whole line, whole 6+ line was resistance. Then it's gone. Banker. 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 But wait a minute. There's more. We hit resistance right up here at +10. It tried once, it tried twice. And what do we got? We got support right here. Transition. Boom. Got a player bet right there. You lose that bet, win that bet, win that bet, lose. Of course, that's the end of the shoe. Let me tell you something. My rule is if you don't have, when you set a target, whether it be 10 units, 15 units, or whatever it might be, if you don't have that by hand 65 to hand 70. And some of those shoes end at hand 70, 71. I've seen them. Very seldom goes to 81, 82, 83. Well, I'm not going to say seldom. I've seen it go to 81, 82, but it's you don't have a chance to get back this late in the shoe. You start betting player here and you already lost two hands right there. You're not getting back. That's the end of the shoe. So be very conscious of where you are in the shoe at all times. But that right there, it's a perfect example of a transition. Perfect example of a transition. It's trending up, then all of a sudden, bang, started trending down again. The shoe is transitioning from banker to player, even though you're on the plus side of zero. So be very careful when you're putting on. This is what you call those player bets right there is what you call counter plays. In trading, we call that counter trend trading. You're betting counter to what the trend actually is. You can get caught up in that. And just from me experiencing this at a Baccarat shoe, I never thought about it at the time, but boy, have I got caught in some counter trend plays looking for one or the other. And the other one rips me a new butt. And you can't understand why, or we can't understand why, what just happened. Tracking it this way, I think you'll be more consistent once you learn how to read support and resistance, once you understand market structure. And if you have any questions, send me an email. Matter of fact, I would suggest that some of you send me some of the hardest shoes you had. Let me put it into this banker index and let's analyze it from there. And send me a losing shoe. Send me something where you lost and let's analyze that shoe, because that's where the learning comes. That's where you start to understand support, resistance, trending up, trending down, trending sideways. That's where the learning comes from, going over your charts. This is the Baccarat Edge. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And good luck at the tables. I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks for watching.